everybody. Welcome to Mid-10 Friday Night Football, the Reporter Show. Coach Lombardi joined by the real deal, Jeff Neal from the Murfreesboro Post. Keith, I'm always ready on the radio. Keith, ready from the Canyon Courier. And boys, we got a lot to talk about, man. We're getting close to the end of the season, and playoffs are amongst us. The chill is in the air. It feels like football weather right now. So, real deal. You tell us, man. You got excited talking about all kinds of stuff. Where were you at this?
Well, I was at Blackman Smyrna Friday night, and it was 8 minutes in the game. It was Blackman scored their first drive, went down, took them 3 minutes to score. Then Smyrna, the first two times they had the ball, they had it two plays, fumbled it twice inside the 10, and Blackman scored twice. Dunn's their running back number 28 scored from 6 yards and 1 yard out. 8 minutes into the first quarter, it was 21-0. It was 35-0 at half. Brylan O'Dur, the number 8, the receiver, he had two catches for 102 yards and two touchdowns. He had a 35-yarder and a 67-yarder. Elliott in the first half he only played two quarters. He set the second half, didn't even play the second half. The other two quarterbacks, Cameron and T, played his second and third stringers. He was 5 of 8, 179 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Hey, real deal. Let me ask you, how's Javion been doing the adjustment over at Blackman?
He's good, man. He runs it, and he can like I said, he can throw. He's got weapons. He's got Oder, and he's got that Nance has been running the ball. Number 28, I can't right now, his name escapes, but he's their main back. But they've got 2 or 3 running backs. They've got receivers. They've got Dixon's a big return guy. I mean, they've got weapons. Blackman can score the football. That's not their defense is really good too. They play solid defense. But then Matt Williams wasn't very happy at all after that game Friday night. He come up to me. He goes to me. He said, "We're gonna keep this short." So he's probably about a 45-second interview. Yeah, he was pretty ticked off. And I know his players. He was talking to him after the ball game, and I mean, he was just royal ticked off at them. I mean, the way they played, and he thinks they're not serious about football and focus and going to appointments and leaving school and all this, that, and the other. He was really ticked off. He could not believe how. But now they did score at the end. About 1:10 to go, they they got a passing touchdown. They scored right there at the end, but he was really the way they play. They fumbled it and they made too many mistakes. If they're going to make the playoffs, and they've still got a chance to, they play Stewart's Creek the final week of the season. They play Laverne this week. I think if they win the last 2, they've still got a chance for the playoffs.
So is that Stewart's Creek versus
Laverne this week? Laverne.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, they're gonna win that one. But that last game against Stewart's Creek, Smyrna, is that going to be Thursday for the final spot? You think that's
it could be? It could be. I don't know. Depends on what Siegel and them do. Siegel is just they went to pot. They lost 4 in a row now. Riverdale shut them out the other night, 37-0. I mean, so I don't know what Siegel. I know Stewart's Creek plays Oakland this week. They've got Oakland, and so I don't look for that to be much of a ball game. But I mean, the 4 spots up for grabs. The thing about it is if Riverdale beats Oakland that last week, the 30th, that night it'll be a 3-way tie. If Blackman wins,
3 of them, and they would have been round
robin. Blackman has 1 loss. They lost to Oakland.
Yeah,
Oakland would have 1 loss. They lost to Riverdale, and Riverdale lost to Blackman.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they would do that if that happens. If Oakland wins, Oakland's the 1.
Yeah.
Blackman's the 2. Riverdale's the 3.
Yeah.
If that happens.
Well,
so I don't know what it's going to be crazy the last couple of weeks to see what goes on, what happens. But I mean, Blackman right now is playing really well.
Yeah.
Because he was worried about coming off fall break, but they played really well this week. So they have got the weapons, and I think they can beat Oakland. I really do. And I know it was only 7-0 at half. The first time they played them, and Oakland went down and scored that second half. But Blackman's got defense. They can stop Oakland. They can beat Oakland. Oakland's not unbeatable. People think they are, but they're not unbeatable.
Well, the thing with the Oak, I mean, Blackman may very well get their chance in the 3rd round, but the thing with Oakland and the Ready Man, we were talking briefly about this. The difference is teams like Oakland, like Maryville, like Ravenswood, they already won the game before they even get out of the locker room, right? Because the mindset is already the team they're playing against already feels like they're going to lose. They almost like got to go above and beyond. So that's part of it. When you're that type of level of a team, take it at college and all this stuff where the mystique you carry is
True.
it shatters the other teams before they even got on the field. And that just drives me crazy. Oh my gosh, I hate when teams would phew, I know I don't care who I was.
Well, and thing about it is, when you play a team like Oakland or these powerhouses, you got to play so far up above your head. You got to go
See,
so far. You got to play almost a perfect game to beat these people, and that's
I,
the thing that's the
that's
thing.
now from an athletic standpoint, yeah, you got to be pretty much locked in. But I've been such a big, I mean, I'm a big mind guy, man. I can't. I don't think I'd get beat at anything. I don't care what we play. I'm not going to lose, right? But the mindset and a lot of this is with when they're talking about the teams, like when they're playing against a team that is there, if they are already like we got to be perfect, we got to be perfect. You're not going to be perfect because the game
That's
of football,
true.
you're
It's
going to
true.
make
True.
mistakes. You've got to have the self confidence to say, I don't care what happens, I'm going to beat you. You're not going to
True.
beat me. Do you know what I mean? And so
That's true.
it's
That's
the
very true.
mindset
Very
you have to
true.
get to. So when Oakland, like I said, Riverdale last year, man, they were right there. It just they lost it at the end. And so when we were talking about Blackman in the first game, they were down 7-0, right? It's very interesting how the mindset can happen because going in at 7-0, Blackman could have felt like, yeah, we got it. Or the other thing is like, man, we should be doing it. You see what I mean?
Yeah, oh
Just
yeah, I know, I
simple
know. Well, I
thing
see the previous year they played them.
right
Blackman
there.
was trying to run out the clock. They fumbled it.
Yeah.
Oakland scores that winning, I think tie whatever it was, ties it up or goes up by one. They try to Blackman goes down, tries to kick a field goal to win it. Oakland blocks it at the
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
end of the ball game to beat them.
Yeah. Now, I mean, there's that old adage, you got, Jimmy and Joe's versus X's and O's. I
Oh yeah,
I don't necessarily, I learned from a mentor of mine, right? That athletes win games, right? Coaches win championships. It's the mindset that is developed. I'll take a team of a bunch of B players and we'll win, right? Because of what we'll do, we're not going to beat ourselves, right? So when you're taking a team that's got
yep,
incredible Oakland talent, along with the mindset of saying we've already beat you before we even get out of the locker room, right? But they're there. Think of the whole Tiger Woods, right? Remember that whole
yep.
you
That's
hear those
true.
old Tiger Woods interviews where
Yeah,
Tiger
very
walked through the
true. Very
locker
true.
room
That's
and they're
right.
like,
Yep,
it's
that's
that
right.
kind of thing. When
You're
you're at
right.
that level, it's all the mind. You do have you have great players, but it's the mind
Yeah,
that is
that's
already
true. You're
locked
that's true.
in.
That's
Yeah.
true.
All right, ready, man. Let's get at it. We can't hear you, brother. Can't hear you.
Oh, okay. How many times
There
do you
you go.
go walk into a locker room and a football locker room itself, and you look up on the bulletin board, and it says all you need to do is beat your man.
Mhm.
It's a mental thing. If you get just like you're saying, if you go into a game and uh, you're not mentally prepared, you're not going to win anything. But
Mhm.
if you go in and you fully grasp that statement, be better than your opponent. And
Mhm.
it's your opponent is not the team; it's the person that you're guarding or the person that you're assigned that you're going to go up against on that defensive line, offensive
Mhm.
line. You
Yeah.
got to beat that guy. And if everybody can do that as a team, then you'll be successful. And we've seen that. And, uh, Oakland beat, Blackman earlier this year, 32-0. They've got a date with Riverdale at the end of the season on October 30th. And that might muddy up that picture that Jeff was talking about.
Yeah.
So we'll
Yeah.
see and everything. So how'd you like we'll go to you. We need to talk to you because let me tell you something, Jeff. This guy was a star. I'm telling you, I couldn't have done no.
About that.
I asked him. We said last week that he was going to come down and cover. He wanted to see Warren County and Caney County. And let me tell you
Right
something. This
out in
guy
short.
put enough enthusiasm and I mean, electricity just in the color commentator. Because I asked him, because I found out my color commentator wasn't going to be there. He had to go to Kentucky to see his niece. And so I asked him, I said, hey, instead of coming and filming, why don't you come up to the broadcast booth? Let's see how things go. And he said, okay, I'll take my son and put my son down on the football level. He'll do some filming. He came up there, and like I said, from start to finish, and we had a long game, Jeff, 4 hours almost.
Woo.
He'll explain it to
Oh
you.
wow! What?
Well,
Y'all didn't
he'll explain what all happened.
you go to overtime with one game. Y'all want to
No,
say the
No,
midnight
it's
or
a different
something?
story. We'll get into
different
it.
story. Get to it in a minute. But this guy right here was a star. I'm surprised. Unfortunately, he's got somewhere else he's got to be in week 10, or we might have him back as part of a triple crew for Thursday night football down in Woodbury.
Well, you might have a playoff game here too. You might be get him in the playoff game now.
Yeah.
Playoff game, Woodbury.
But anyway, Coach, tell us a little bit about. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you saw and the electricity that you brought to this Warren County game?
Well, Cannon County is what I love about football, right? And my love for football in general. The reason why I don't know how much you guys know about this, but the reason why I got into coaching, if you see this book right there, right, it's Moments and Memories, right? I was 19 when I started coaching, right? And the reason why I got into coaching is because I was one of those kids that got my heart shattered by a coach, right? And when I very first started coaching at the age of 19, it's about the love that you have for the kids, right? The football is secondary. It's the relationship to build up these young kids to be, know how to have a great relationship and know how to be good young men. The whole relationship part is the reason why I really got into coaching football, and it just enriches me. Well, I don't want to get very long in my story, which I typically do, but the environment with everything just it makes it that much more enriching, right? And so one thing every season, like when I get into coaching, it's just I would use it as we're on a journey, right? Everybody's on the journey. I may be the captain, but everybody's got their role, from the trainer to the cheerleaders to everybody is on this journey, right? And it's what makes it beautiful. And so moving out here, it's like my love for the game out in California, Wackafornia, right, only got magnified coming out here because I'm surrounded by people that love football. Now I may be psycho in the way I approach it, right? But it's such a when you asked me, Keith, to do it, I was like, yeah, I love football. I don't know how I'm gonna do. I mean, I'll talk football. I just love talking football. But the experience at Cannon is the reason why I love it, is because you have a small community. People just love being around each other. It's a community aspect, and they pull for each other, and the town shuts down, and we go and we root on for our boys, right? And hopefully it's a great game and they win. But if you don't, you live with it, right? But it's the love of the community that's around football. Right? I'm a firm believer that football brings people together like nothing else, nothing more, right? And then it just the realness, and when people allow themselves, right? My coaches and players, they would still talk about how the experience. It was me. The idea is it's an experience that we're presenting. We're all together. We have this love for each other, and then it comes to an end. If you allow yourself to really get immersed in the experience, from the practices to the film to the pepper to everything, it is that old analogy. I don't like it. Life, football is life or whatever. No, I believe that it gives you the opportunity to really experience the trueness of authentic love, authentic hurt, right? Authentic pain. You allow it, because my my favorite and most real time of the season, right? I love the playoffs more than anything, right? I only missed playoffs one time, whatever. I love the playoffs more than anything because going into that game, right? Um, Randy, I think you got an idea that I'm pretty intense, right? And I'm in but it's because of the moment. It's like you are right there on the cusp of this where we could be done, right? This journey can be done, right? And so you're playing on that edge because you wanted to keep going, right? And there's like that fear, but then there's the love. You want to keep going because you love the guy next to you. You love the family. You love the crowd. You love everything about it. So it's like you fight that much more. So then you take it all the way to when you get to the championship game, which I love that is the best thing that you can compare to me is like the I don't want to say the birth of my child or the wife. It's not to put it so far up, but it's because you know it's the culmination of everything that you started back in January. If that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
It's like you watching your kid graduate, right? They're done. They become young, your season started with working in the weight room, working on this, and then you get to the championship game. I love it more than anything because it's whatever feelings you're going to have, you're going to let yourself cry with joy, cry with pain, sorrow, whatever, but it's as pure as life emotion as you can get it. And that's what I mean by I think people, you know, it's life and whatever. No, no, no. And you get to embrace the true emotions of life. And so my very long answer, keep I love the experience of being down there because I could imagine, man, I would be nuts if I was there. Like meaning if I was part of that community in some capacity or not, it would be complete fullness, right? To be able to coach in an environment like that, right? Because I already bring a intensity or weirdness to me that's all about it. And then you put me in an environment that welcomes that. Oh my gosh, man. That would be nuts. So I loved it. I can't hear you, brother. You keep muting us, man.
All right, there we go. This is this microphone. I've
Yeah.
got two set headsets, and I try to put it on mute so you don't hear anything in the background because I've got cats over here. The
Yeah.
roommate's not home, and the cats are missing him, and they just, they make their noise. But at any rate, Coach Lombardi, one of the big things that happened on Saturday night was you got to experience a community football, kind of like Jeff, what you would experience in Eagleville.
Yeah.
Eagleville
Oh
used to
yeah.
have, that type of a community
Yeah.
type,
Oh
a
yeah.
small school atmosphere that puts together a winning team. And what was funny was the Southern Standard did an interview with Coach Hinch on the same day last week, right? I was doing my interview with the coach's conversation. And he says, you've got a fun offense to come watch. And Coach Hinch looked at him and said, well, we love to play the up tempo. And you look at the personnel that we've got, we're a small school, and usually an up tempo offense doesn't work in a small school, but it'll work here
Yeah.
because of
Yeah.
the personnel that you've got. You've got athletes. And, for years, we had a coach, Joel Strink, and some of the people that may be watching remember him. You might remember him, Jeff, the last time that we really went in a winning record. In fact, I think it was the only time that we went winning record, 8-3 that year in 2009. And then the next year, he knew how to build a football program and he played the similar type of offense. If you were a quarterback, you played quarterback. You didn't worry about playing a wide receiver. You didn't worry about running back. You didn't worry about playing on the offensive line. And once again, you had 40 kids come out. So you had to kind of, you would think that there was going to be people that played on both sides of the ball, but very rarely. You
Yeah.
counted on kids, and you were working really hard in January and stuff. And there were a couple of bad years in that. A bad break when the second string quarterback that would have moved up and been the first string quarterback after the first year, that 8-3 year, he was using a two quarterback system. One of his quarterbacks was a senior. That meant the junior would come up. And what ended up happening was he had to he went through January, February, March, April, May. Here comes spring practice, spring game, and all of a sudden, right after that spring game, and this quarterback was all world. I guarantee. I mean, he could run, he could throw. He was that in a box of rocks. And he came up to the coach right after, like the day after that spring game, and he told coach, he said, "I got some bad news for you. My parents are moving to Georgia,
Oh,
and when they move to Georgia, they're taking me with them because
Yeah.
and that just crushed because again, you relied on this kid taking first rep practices, first
yeah,
reps the
That's
whole
right.
entire spring.
yeah.
Now you've got to start over. So what they did after the first year, the second year, they brought in this kid. He was a freshman. His name's Ryan Jordan. He passed. In fact, they'll tie into our story on from Friday night here in a
He's the
minute.
one that set the record.
He's the one that set the record
Yeah.
that we know of.
Not broken.
1,744
Yeah.
yards in a season as a freshman.
Yeah.
0-10. Now, Jeff, here's where you might remember this story. The very next year, politics got involved. And when politics got involved, Shrink left and he went down to Alabama. And I mean, he's going deep in the playoffs every year with the high schools down there. Ryan was, he had paid his dues. They had gotten their skilled players just right. They were ready. They all had paid their dues. Young team. And all of a sudden, the coach at that point in time, because of politics, sat out there and said, Ryan George's not my starting quarterback. I'm going with the senior. Well, Dad decided, you know what? My kid has done paid his dues. He's not going to get a chance to start here, so we're going to transfer him. So he transferred to Eagleville. And when he did his sophomore year, he passed for 2,500 yards, no interceptions.
Damn.
This was a quarterback that we could have had. You know what we do that year? We go 0-10. We went 0-10 the next 2 years. And I won't tell you that would have been 2011, 2012.
Oh, so it's not that recent. Okay.
Yeah, but once again, we got a taste of what a spread offense would do, and every coach since then had to do, and some of it was rightfully so, but every coach since then had to run just a basic offense of running. Pretty much the running backs were the featured thing, and it wasn't working. Enter Eli Garrett, his junior year, and new coach, of course, Andrew Barch, and they switched the offense around to a spread offense, and he starts to excel. And this year, we're seeing the fruits of what 1 year can do in that offense. He's mastered it. This kid can throw, and in fact, and Coach Lombardi and I talked Friday during the ball game. We looked at the Tennessean and looked at the Daily News Journal and all of their selections and predictions of who might win Mr. Football. Of the quarterbacks that are in Mr. Football right now in 2A football, none of them have anywhere close to the stats that Eli Garrett has. He's almost got 2,000 yards passing in his senior season right now. I don't know telling how many touchdowns. Well, let's see. I can tell you real quick because I've got it. He has 22 touchdowns on the season. Now, that was before Friday, so I think he's got about 24.
He threw 2 last night.
24. So now he's got 24. He had 1,723 yards passing going into this game. He broke Ryan Jordan's single season passing record, and he's got coming close to 2,000 because he had 156. Now, the story of this particular game, there were several stories. The story of this particular game, Jeff, was that there's a running back. He's a sophomore or junior, I think it is. He didn't play a whole lot of running back. He's third string, really, but he's good. First time he touched the football this season, he went like 60 yards for a touchdown in the backfield. But they use him for defense. He's a defensive, just mastermind. I don't know how many tackles he had against Warren County the other night, but it was a bunch.
Yeah.
So they had to put him in because the starting running back, he was out most of the season with a collarbone injury, broken collarbone. He comes back, plays 2 games, really does good for us. Thought we might have the answer in running back. Not that we needed an answer because Cale Sellers, who stepped in for him, did nicely. But then all of a sudden he comes in and he's injured again, and we see him on crutches. Well, Jaden Shannon lines up in the backfield. You know how many yards he got, Jeff, that Friday night? How about 329 yards, 4 touchdowns? He was taking, and Coach Lombardi will tell you.
Hold on. I got to tell you this because I had to go back through. Because remember, I was telling you the second half, this kid was just rolling, but it wasn't the second half. Do you know what his stats were for the fourth quarter?
What were they?
I had to go back and watch my film. The fourth quarter alone, he had 10 carries, 204 yards, and those 4 touchdowns.
Wow.
He just killed them in the. And
God.
I was watching because we were watching like man, and I mean I interviewed him after the game and whatnot, and I'll send that to you. It was pretty good because what I mean, he's such a nice kid, man. Like I
Humble,
said, it's you know,
humble.
yeah, I love that. I just and the dad, it's like I said, man, the family atmosphere. I embrace it. I just love that. But anyhow, he's a big kid. He's solid,
Yeah.
and you know, he was. I told him, and he hadn't really, like I said, he hadn't really carried the ball. And I asked him, I was like, how much did you love in the fourth quarter when you were rolling, knowing that those guys were going to bounce off you, right? Because as he was rolling, he was just breaking tackles. Jeff, he broke this one. It was an 80-yard run, and I swear it was probably 4 or 5 tackles he broke on the way, right?
He was
Like
dragging
They
people with
probably, they
him.
probably by the fourth quarter, they probably didn't want to tackle the guy, did they?
that's what
They
I'm saying.
probably didn't want to tackle him.
He had
Did they,
4
Keith?
touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
I'm
So
saying, Keith, when you was doing that game, Keith, he probably didn't want to tackle him. One candy guy, he's probably tired of, and he wasn't tackling in the fourth quarter. They didn't want to fool with him.
yeah,
Well,
no,
a couple
They
of
probably didn't want to mess with him.
that's
couple of
exactly.
reasons why we had such a long game is
Oh.
in the third quarter, Smith County kid, or not Smith County, but the
Warren County.
Kid. There was a Warren County linebacker that got his leg broke probably, and I don't know
was
how
Oh,
they
did it?
broke.
Oh, wow.
So
Oh,
we
that's
had to
awful.
wait for them to haul him off to the
Oh, that's
Woodbury
awful,
Hospital.
man.
So that took a little while. Then, right as Miles Alexander scores off a passing play, he gets into the end zone, I guess it was, and right as soon as he got in the end zone, the clock struck 10 and the lights went out in the stadium.
Yep.
They're set on a timer, and at 10 o'clock at night, they were set on a timer the previous night during a soccer tournament game.
Did y'all play in Woodbury? Y'all play Woodbury?
Woodbury, yeah. So
They forgot to pay their electric bill, Jeff. That's really what
No.
happened.
it was a timer issue. So we had to wait another 30 minutes for them to get the lights turned back on.
Yeah.
And then right after the lights got turned back on, we hit the 2-point conversion, and then we line it up for a kick. And guess what we did? We're ahead big time now. Guess what we did? Surprise onside kick. We recovered it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was that was a slick call.
Well,
What are you onside for? You got your bookie, or something. What you onside for?
It was actually they were only ahead 14 at the time,
Yeah.
right? Because it was where the 42 to
42-27.
So
Yeah.
I mean, it was, but there was only like 5 minutes left to go in the game,
Oh,
right? And so it wasn't like trying to pour salt in the wound. It really was because Warren County kept coming back. I mean, I would keep telling the ready man that in the fourth quarter drives when you're up by a touchdown, it's called the jugular drive, right? Because you just want to put him out. Well, Cannon did it, and then they kick the ball off, and the kid dances around, goes back, and they're up 7 again, right? So the fourth quarter was ridiculous. I don't even know how many. There was probably 6 total touchdowns scored in the fourth quarter alone combined, right?
Yeah.
Well, thing about it was y'all's game didn't have. It was close enough. Y'all didn't have no mercy rules that were. It was 15
Exactly.
points. That's why it took so long.
Yeah.
There were 7 touchdowns scored between the two teams in the fourth quarter.
Fourth quarter, yeah, it was ridiculous. I mean, ridiculously cool. I think, I got a little bit excited. I'm glad I don't think I used any full on curse words, but sometimes it's close. And by the way, that interception, Eli did not throw that interception, man. They gave Eli an interception. I hate that.
And I was kind of scared at that point in time when he threw that interception because the only time he's thrown interceptions this year, I think it's his third interception of the season. The other 2 times, one in the game against Gordonsville, one in the game against Clay County. We lose both of those games. So, but we pulled that one out.
Yeah, well, that's what I was meaning. Like, and again, the turning point, Jeff. What had happened is, it started third quarter, and at the time, I think it was like 13-12, something like it. It was tight, right? Both. I mean, the third quarter started. They were going back and forth a little bit, and then Cannon had their rhythm, and they threw a pick, right? And it was the receiver's fault, but we don't need to get into that one. He redeemed himself later, but then Warren County got the ball, and then 2 plays later they threw an interception, and then that's when the momentum just completely shifted. And then that's when they got ahead, and then it was just running away with it. So let's talk about this week, man. We got some very, very good games coming up. All right. And obviously I didn't give you guys the games of the weeks. We'll put that on the shelf. We'll wait till we get to playoffs. But White County goes to Upperman, and that's got to be for the division. I mean, or one of I mean, because that whole Division 4, I printed it out. It's ridiculously good. I mean, you got Livingston Academy, who's in 4th place, or 1, 2, 3, 4. They're in 5th place, and they're 5-3. And Jeff, didn't you say that there's like 4 teams that make it out of that division?
The top 4 make the playoffs.
Yeah, and I mean, you're going to have a 5-3 team that its only losses have been to its conference teams, right? And is not going to make the
now, what's their region record? What's their region record?
Region record is 0-3.
0-3. That's it. 0-3.
That's what I mean. But I mean, the fact that they're 5-3, you know,
you know.
I mean, it's just you got 2 7-1 teams, 2 6-2 teams, and a 5-3 team, and they are just beating each other up. So that game actually really just steps out because technically Upperman, even though they're 6-2, they have, I mean, they're 3-0 in the division.
The region, so yeah.
Yeah, and then White County is 7-1. So they're both tied. I mean, that whoever wins that game is going to have the inside for the top seed. So I actually may make a road trip up to Upperman, but we'll see. So what say you? What do you think of what game are you thinking about this weekend, Jeff?
I really haven't. This last weekend, there are a couple games that kind of surprised me. I was surprised. Eagle has a really good football team. Their last 3 games are on the road. They had to go to Huntland this last week, which from here it's about an hour 45-minute trip. They cut through Fayetteville, go to Winchester, Franklin County. They won 44-7, which I wasn't really surprised at the win, kind of the margin. I thought it'd be a lot closer ball game, but Eagles got a pretty good football team. Their line play is really good. They've got a running back, Jordan. He had a pretty good game the other night. Their quarterback threw it a little bit. They've got a couple of receivers, decent. But they've got some linemen that are young. They're coming along. And they play Zion Christian this week it's a non-region game. Then they play Fayetteville to finish up. So they've got a chance to be in the playoffs. I don't know if they're going to host or not, but they should be in the playoffs, I would think. And then NTCS, they went on the road to Tipton Rosemark in Millington and won 35-28. It was a back and forth ball game. They got a pick 6, I believe, late and went up and won that game. And that's a huge game for them. Of course, their big deal now is they get a week that they were supposed to play a team this week. They canceled on them. So they've got TCA in 2 weeks. And I think that's basically for the region championship. Whoever wins that, that's what Coach Pearson was saying, that if he wins, they can be region champions, which would give them a really good inside track as far as the playoffs are concerned.
Yeah, I'm going to be at that one.
Those two guys stood out to me a little bit.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. I'll be at that one. The Halloween Madness.
Yeah, Halloween night. Yeah, it's going to be on 31st.
Yeah. Keith, now you're kind of you don't really have nothing to do this Friday, so
I'm gonna sit at home. No, actually, I probably am gonna sit at home and take a breather. But I would think a couple of games, and you alluded to it, Coach, in that particular region. The standings right now, White County and Upperman are both 3-0.
Yeah,
and the winner of that game's probably going to be the number 1 seed, I would imagine. Stone Memorial is not too far behind, 2-1, but they've lost to White County. They've got I'm not for sure who all they've got left. They've got DeKalb County, and I'm not for sure who that second team is. I would say it's got to be Upperman, and maybe
Upperman plays Macon the last. I think that's their tradition.
Yeah, Upperman does play Macon in the last one. Now Macon County's 1-2, and we're talking about Livingston making the playoffs. They're still alive.
Yeah,
even though they're that number 5th team out of, and there's actually 6 teams in that region, by the way.
Yeah.
They are tied with DeKalb County, both 0-3 records in the deal. So Livingston Academy, when they meet DeKalb County at the last week of the season, they could be poised depending on how Livingston. I would imagine they've got to play. No, Livingston has to play Macon left. So Livingston could rise from being they're number 5 now. They could rise to being into that number 4
They can
seed
drop
if
into
they
it, yeah.
beat Macon, because Macon County's got, I believe that maybe they're the ones that's got Upperman in the last game of the year or
Yeah.
something.
At
So,
Upperman, yeah.
right.
Upperman.
So, well, actually, I've got it right here. Yes, they're at Upperman. So, oh man, here you go, Jeff. Macon County has to travel the Death Valley, so to speak, of what it used to be called, Livingston and Upperman.
Oh,
They've got to go
Lord.
to both.
Ooh,
And that used to be called in basketball.
Baxter
That
and
was Death
Hogeye,
Valley.
Lord.
Yeah.
Hogeye and Baxter. Oh, look out now. Ooh-wee. Hey, you don't want none of Hogeye now. You don't want none of them. You don't want none of Hogeye now.
So Macon County's playing Livingston this weekend then?
Yes, they're playing at Livingston.
All right, well then you can look at that and you could almost say the winner of that is gonna get up that 4 seed, because you could probably figure Livingston's gonna win the last game against DeKalb, right? And then even if Macon loses the following week against Upperman, it wouldn't affect their standing, so they would still take the number 4. So I think that Macon at Livingston, that's for the number 4 seed. That's for the last playoff spot.
But White County, it's so important for them if they want to wrap up that number 1 seed, get that win against Upper, because I just looked at the schedule here. Because the next game after that is Stone Memorial. Now that game is, and by the way, that game is at Stone Memorial too. Stone Memorial's 2-1. So they're kind of sitting on the outside looking. They beat Macon County, they beat Livingston Academy. They lost big to Upperman.
Yeah.
So you would think if they lost big to Upperman, they'll lose decently to White County, but that's not. I mean, and that game, by the way, against Upperman was at Stone Memorial in Crossville there.
Yeah.
So, but boy, that region is something else. And then another game that you would kind of get your eye on, Grundy County got beat. Bledsoe County came back from behind and beat Grundy County. That's their second loss in a row. So
what division do they play in? I know you've been really big on.
They're 6-2, aren't they?
They're Region 2, and they play Region 3 2A football, and they play. They're going to play. Well, no, that's Marion County that plays them. York Institute in Monterey. Let's go with them first. This is a game. York Institute 0-2 in their region, which is 3A football. They've got Marion County, they got Grundy County, they got Bledsoe County. They lost to Bledsoe and Grundy. If they can beat Monterey, both those two teams are tied, and Monterey got blown away last week by Trousdale County in a non-region game. York Institute's got the inroads to be that number 4 seed coming out of Region 3 2A right now. So that's something major for York Institute, who hasn't won a game all year. But if they can get this win against Monterey, they can stay alive and they can play in week number what amounts to be number 12 of the season. So that's
what about so Grundy 6-2, right, Keith?
Grundy is, yes, they're 6-2, and they are 2-2 in their region because both the two losses came to region opponents last week against Marion and this past Friday against Bledsoe County. They've got the week off this week. Next week they by the way, they're 7-2, not 6-2. Next week they go to travel to Jackson County, and that is a very winnable game for this Grundy County team. But they've got to be dedicated to go down there to get it. But that it really doesn't matter in the region standings because their region season's over at 2-2.
It's you guys. So Cannon's in 2A, right?
Right.
Okay. So 2A, there's, and you were just talking about Grundy, which is obviously in a tight division. I was looking at in Region 5, Mount Pleasant are they traveling? Yeah, they're traveling to Lewis County, and they're both 7-1, 4-0 in their division. So that's going to be another slobber knocker that it's going to come down to the wire. So 2A is fun, man. 2A is fun football, baby.
lot of community type football teams.
You got the small towns, man. Because I've been to Forest. Is Forest and Cascade, are they 2A?
I want to say they are 3A.
They're either 2A or 3A.
Yeah,
3A, I believe.
One of them 2A or 3A.
No, but anyway, yeah, because Mount Pleasant had played at Forest, and I did that game. I don't know if that was It wasn't a conference, but anyways, yeah, 2A football's fun, man. Fun. There's another game that I'm actually looking forward to that I actually may make the trek, and that is Antioch is going 8-0, obviously, and they're going to 6-2 Clarksville, right? They're both undefeated. They're both in the conference. I didn't even realize that was their conference. And that's going to be for the conference championship. You know,
Wow.
if Antioch comes back and plays against, McGavick or Overton, one of the two. So the winner of that's going to get the top seed. All right. So I may actually make that trek. So I don't know. What say you, Jeff? What else are you looking at for this coming week?
Well, there's a lot of different games in the region. I don't think there's any more non-region games. I know, like I said, Smyrna and Laverne play, and that's always a rival game. I think Laverne has won
Right.
since they started. They opened in 1988. I think Laverne has won one time. And all that time, they've won. Laverne Smyrna has pretty much dominated that series. Laverne's got a new coach.
Yeah, I like
Trying to
it.
think, I cannot. I think who else? I know Oakland played Stewart's Creek, and I'm not sure Riverdale and the other ones play, but I know it's all pretty much region games
Yeah.
from here on out. And like I said, the biggest battle in Region 3 is going to be that fourth spot because you're looking at Siegel, Smyrna,
Yeah.
Stewart's Creek, and Rockville. I'll tell you what, Rockville it's a non-region win. But I tell you what, they got a huge win Friday night.
Tullahoma.
They played Tullahoma at their place, went to overtime.
Mm.
Dallas Paul, though, he's a big tight end, plays basketball. He had a huge game for them Friday night. They won 39-38 in overtime.
Were you actually at that game?
I wasn't that game was it. I wasn't there, but I heard about it. It was
Okay.
a really good game.
Yeah.
And Coach Towns, I want to tell you about this guy.
Yeah.
This guy was his dad coached at Henry County for years. He coached there. Henry County is kind of like a little bit like it's a small kind of community. They're a big size school. They've got Inman, a middle school over there. There's a feeder pro, really good. But they support their program at Henry County on Friday nights. You talking about town shutting down? That town shuts down, pal, and they go to Patriot Stadium. And they support them Henry County Patriot Stadium right now. Because there's a guy that I worked for about 6 months, 3 or 4 months, Tommy Pretty. He writes at the Paris Post Intelligencer, been there over 40 years. He's a Paris native, went to school there, knows everything about Paris, probably every grand athlete you'd ever know. But the Counts, man, I'm going to tell you what, those two, his dad could coach, he could coach. When he got the job, I talked to Coach Gary Rankin at Boyd Buchanan. We was talking about it, and I said, Coach, what do you think about Coach Counts going to Rockville? He told me, he said it was a slam dunk hire for Rockville. And my boss could agree too. He said Rockville is a slam dunk, and it has been they are 4-4 right now.
Yeah.
They still got a chance for the playoffs. They
Yeah.
really do. I don't know who they got to play left. They got to play. If they can win both of them, maybe even split, I don't know. They got a chance for the playoffs. And this right here, I'm going to tell you something, Coach. This right here is why I wish, and they're not going to do it, but this is why I wish that the TSSAA would bring back bowl games. You remember bowl games, Keith? You remember back in the day? Back in the day, the top 2 teams from your district would go to the playoffs, not 4.
Okay.
So what you
And
do?
then the rest of them would go to a bowl?
Yeah. So what you do? They've had bowl games. They would have bowl games like Tullahoma had the Lions Bowl.
Yeah.
Hartsville had the Tobacco Bowl. They had different bowls around the mid-state area. You would have to qualify for a bowl game. You had to be 5-5 at least to go to a bowl. You couldn't have a losing record. You had to be 5-5 at least to go, and to get a bowl bid back then was huge. I mean, they go to your school when they'd invite you. It was huge to have an extra game to play.
Yeah, I bet that was great for those communities that hosted That
Oh yeah,
yeah.
the Tobacco Bowl and I mean Tullahoma had the Lions Bowl, and I think they're still when I was working in Fayetteville, they still did it. But they did the freshman teams and the junior high teams. I don't know if they're still having it now, but it's been a long time. I mean, these communities they had bowl games, and I know they had the Butter Bowl, and it was the butter. I forget where that was. The Butter Bowl. They had
So
all these different bowl games, and I mean, for the communities, it was huge for them. You'd come in and you'd play on a Saturday night, and you get an extra game, and you'd have a chance to go 6-5. Hey man, it's like in college football, you're 6-6, trying to go 7-6 for
yeah.
you'd rather be 7-6 and 6-7 or 5-5 whatever it is. I mean, it was
So
huge.
So
So a
hey,
note for you, Jeff. I don't necessarily think that Henry County is in any danger of missing out in the playoffs this year. It started out, they were rough, and it was an uncharacteristic year because, like Jeff had said, the Counts, when they coach football, I mean, every football team playoffs every year, never missed a beat. And then they started off this year, they were 1-3. And after the game against Page, when they lost to them 49-14, something turned around and they have won 3 straight in a row. In their region, they're 3-0. They take on Kenwood this week, which is
That's
out of Clarksville.
That's in Clarksville.
And Kenwood is 2-1 in region, but then another region opponent. If they can get by Kenwood, they've got a showdown with Kirkwood, which is also a 3-0 at this point in time, 3-0 region team. So they're going to be in the first. They could be first to turn around this season. They could be one of the first 2 seeds in that.
Yeah, they're not going to fall off just the Kansas League. They ain't going to fall off no wagon over it. They're going to find somebody to coach football. I can promise you on that. They'll find somebody. I can tell you right now. They're not going to fall off the wagon over here and lose football game. I can tell you that right now. They ain't going to do that. I mean, they just not that they'll find the custodian to coach football. They got to. Don't ever to them.
They'll bring Trent Dilfer.
Yeah, they'll bring anybody to want to. If he win football games, they'll be in there. They might bring Billy Napier. He got fired today. Might bring him up. Let him win some ball games. I mean, they'll bring anybody to want to. They support down there
Today.
He got fired today. Napier did in Florida. Got fired. Yep.
Yeah, that's a tough kid.
Yep. He got fired, but
I'm surprised DeBoer has hung on the way he did, man. They were calling.
Well, you know, at that Florida State, they love him now. He's won 6-7 in a row. They love him now. They beat Tennessee 17 out of 19 out of that. 17 out of 19 times,
Hey man, you're affecting my ratings talking bad about Tennessee, dude. Nobody wants to hear about them losing.
Well, I mean,
except
we
the
can't
ready man.
We can't help he threw a pick 6, 99 yards. I mean, Keith could have run that back, couldn't you, Keith? You think you could have got down the field? You might have
that was, oh my gosh, that was
had an ambulance probably take me the rest of the way.
Yeah, we were at my wife and I were at a restaurant, and it's funny because Keith, that's the reason why I don't like watching games up in the stands. Right, you hear people that just, oh my gosh, they just don't understand it, right?
Right. Well, we saw some of that, didn't we, Friday?
Yeah. I'm sorry, but I mean, I'm out there, and I got Alabama people on one side and Tennessee people on the other side, and it was funny. Right when that happened, I'm like, oh, that was a bad pass, and then whoop, because he should have threw it to the guy behind him. The guy behind him was one. As soon as he threw it, I was like, oh, that's gone. It's like the people, like it just was funny. I'm like, well, not funny, but
Now, what football team do you follow? You yourself?
It changed for me a couple things. College, I love. Believe it or not, I grew up. I lived in Missouri, and I used to love watching Tennessee because, well, they didn't really have a lot of TVs, but Tennessee was always on. Right?
Yeah, unfortunately.
And I remember way back in the days, I used to imitate being Chuck Webb, right?
Okay.
Chuck Webb was a little running back. I used to love being him, but college, I love watching the football games, whichever one. I was big on Penn State, and some craziness happens there, right? But I was a big Joe Buck fan. So, but what really changed is when I was a Chief and a Niner fan, right?
Okay, all right.
But more importantly, I became a fantasy football Lombardi team. Whatever my team was, is who I was cheering for, right? So that
right.
That changed.
I
Yeah,
played 1 year of that fantasy football, and
yeah,
it was back when my team's the Pittsburgh Steelers. So
yeah,
Roethlisberger and you had the Antonio Brown and those
yeah.
two teams. And I
Right.
got in the draft, I got to pick those two. They left
Oh,
Roethlisberger alone. They left Antonio Brown alone, and
yeah,
those two single handedly put up the best season
yeah,
stats in
yeah,
the NFL that year.
yeah.
And so yeah, I was looking pretty good.
I would love doing that, but then I mean, going way back, like I had Priest Holmes or whatever, and as if the Chiefs are winning, it's like, yeah, I want my Chiefs to win, but you know what? If they lost, okay, but how'd my players do? It's like,
Yes, that's
it's just funny. It's like my brother was out there visiting. We were just joking. It's like it totally changed the way I looked at the game. It's like when the ticker comes up and it shows the score, it's like who scored? Okay, I got to do points with it. It changed. Jeff, do you play fantasy football or did you?
No, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, once you do it, it definitely
I
changes the way you look at
don't
things.
mess with.
yes, it
I got
does.
too much other stuff. I don't fool. I
I
don't mess
mean,
with
you're looking at your player stats. You know, you might be watching again. You Steelers are on, but you've got your eye on another TV,
Everything going,
and
man.
yeah, and you're watching some other players that you've drafted in your team to really do
Yeah,
well.
I have.
I was gonna ask you, Coach, what you think about the middle school game Saturday at Smyrna? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. Ready, man. I was at the middle school championship game yesterday, and saw actually, Jeff talking about bowl games, and I saw a lot of players that are actually going to be in the Turkey Bowl,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So, yeah, which is pretty cool. And a few more players were asking about it. I'm like, man, I wish you guys would have contacted me earlier, right? We got to cap it at some point.
It's pretty good ball game. What I understand.
It was a good ball game. I mean, Oakland won it, and I think that they've won three in a row. I don't think they've
Yeah,
lost.
3 in a row. 3 in a row.
I don't think they've lost in 3 years, right?
3 in a row. Yeah.
And then so it was a good game. It was 8-0 the whole first half, Keith, and then all the way down late into the fourth quarter. It was a good game. It was. I mean, compelling defense wise. And again, it just kind of goes to one of those. All right. One thing I noticed about this Turkey Bowl, guys, right, is the players that I have in this game. And Keith, we just picked up 4 of your boys. You're gonna love it.
4 now. You
You
were
got
at
4.
3.
Yeah, you have we just picked up Silas Bain.
Okay. Wow, he's coming back from injury.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the
Yeah.
mom said he's good to go. I'm like, all right, well, if you feel good, and Smotherman is on board, so we're gonna have a little cannon flurry over there in the Turkey Bowl. So,
Wow.
but my point is, so we were talking earlier about how the mindset, right? The mindset, teams get beat before they even walk out the locker room because of who they're playing, right? There's no disparaging against Oakland. They have an incredible amount of talent, right? Doing the Turkey Bowl, I've got like 5 or 6 players from these teams, right? There is talent all over the place, right?
Right.
So it just kind of that's a perfect example of a team that they're competing against themselves, right? Where up and coming teams, you need to get to that point because Blackman's got talent. I mean, they got these 2 stud running backs. One of them, or whatever you want to call him, running back, D linebacker, whatever. Carson Wembley, this kid's a stud. He's going to start on varsity next year. I mean, he's just ridiculously good, right?
Yeah.
So you have that kind of talent, and it's how do you get over the hump? When you're physically the same as another team physically, the only hump is in the brain. How do you get over that? You don't beat yourself before him, because if you can physically match the guy, you got to get over that hump. It's mental, right?
Right.
So it was a good game. I mean, I don't have any rooting interest one way or the other way. I just like to see a good football game. It's funny, Jeff. I told Keith before the game when I was up there doing my John Gruden impersonation that I was like, look, I'm in the booth, but I'm gonna call. I mean, there's good plays either way, right? And then they had this one, it was funny because we were just talking about how it was third and like 15 or whatever, Jeff, Warren County, and they don't really like to pass the ball. It's not their comfort zone, and they threw it to this running back and short pass, and he made a move. Guys quit, and he's gone. I'm like, oh my God, that was a great play. Right. So sorry. I mean, but
I don't think he said it like that.
yeah, probably
Think
did.
about it
No, probably
50
not. No,
times
probably not.
louder
No,
and cheering. That's
probably
how he
not.
did
Yeah,
it.
probably
You
not.
know.
I wonder. I wonder if the people like right in front of us were like, "Who the heck is that guy? Damn it!" Cheering for the wrong team.
Well, there was one year, and I was doing a game radio, and I don't know, it was a beautiful pass play. Smith County, I do remember the team that we played. Smith County threw a beautiful hookup pass play. Couldn't have asked for any wide open. I mean, it was just in stride, caught it, goes up the field. I'm calling this. I don't know how this guy heard me, but all of a sudden, next thing you know, he's up in the press box saying, "You need to be for you're working for a Woodbury radio station. You need to be for Cannon County. And if I didn't have half of mine, I'd come down and take you out to the steps and show you." Like he wanted to fight. So as soon as, of course, it was touchdown, we had an extra point conversion. I flipped my headphones off, says, "Let's go. Tell me what you got." Of course, there was a guy that was standing. This was during the politic years, by the way.
Yeah.
There was a guy standing in the way, and he looked at me and he said, "Keith, just let him go. He's not right." And I didn't realize what was going on. You know. Well, at any rate, after the game was over, I'm looking for him. You know, I'm thinking I'm not going to get blindsided by this idiot. I'm going to look for him just to make sure. I'm going to my car, and all of a sudden, the assistant chief of Woodbury Police comes up to me and says, "Well, I arrested me somebody. I arrested me a star." And I said, "Who'd you get?" And he goes, "Oh, I can't tell you. You'll have to come to the courthouse on Saturday, by the way. You'll have to come to the courthouse and go to the clerk's office, and they'll give you the warrants." I'm thinking, come on, man. Can't. So I turned around and called Tony Stennett. You remember the name, Jeff?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I called him because he was working. He was doing the sports for the Cannon Courier at the time. And I said, "Who'd they arrest?" And he told me who they arrested. "Okay, you got yourself a little bit of a superstar. Why'd you arrest him? Public drunkenness." This guy that come up and challenged me was
He was drunk.
Yeah. I'll tell you who it was after.
That's fine. That's fine.
Off there.
But
Yeah.
this guy that challenged me was in that crowd of people doing the tailgate party.
Okay.
So obviously
Oh,
that's
man.
where they got drunk from.
Yeah.
And that's why that one guy didn't want me going after him, because he knew he was drunk doing this. Of course, the guy that did that, he never did offer an apology. Not that I cared one way or another.
But let me tell you real quick. Let me tell you a real quick story. This guy, I know Keith, I don't remember. His name is Tracy Ham. He played for Georgia Southern way back in the day. Okay, Art Russell was coming here in an offense called the Ham Bone. He's a quarterback. Okay, so he got drafted in the NFL. They wanted him to play another position. He didn't want to do it. Went up to CFL, played about 10, 12 years, had a real good career. Right. He came back down to Statesboro. He's working in the university, and they wanted him to do some broadcast, not play-by-play, but color. So he's doing about 3 or 4 years or so. So a couple games, you know how announcers are all homers. He says stuff like "we" and "us" and "they." We got to do this, and they got to do this, and we got to hold them on forth. Well, Georgia Southern didn't like it. They didn't like what he was doing. They didn't like he was being a homer. They fired his ass. They said, "Get out of here. We don't want you. We don't want you being a homer. All this homer business." And see, back in the day, I'll tell you a story. Mr. Harbaugh, you don't remember this guy, but Kaywood Ledford. He was an announcer in Kentucky for 39 years. He announced basketball and football. So one night, it's during basketball season, and they were on the road game, him and Coach Rupp. Rupp coached for 42 years, won 4.5, won about, I don't know, but 4.5, whatever. One night, his team was playing terrible. Mm-hmm. And they got in the bus, they going back to Lexington, where it was. And they sitting there and talking. He asked Kaywood, he goes, "Kaywood, how did you talk about us tonight?" Because he knew they didn't play very well. He just come out and said, "I said what I said, or something like that." And Rupp basically told Kaywood, "You got license to tell my team how they play. If they play bad, you tell it. If they play good, you tell it. Don't you do this sugarcoating business. Don't you sugarcoat it and all this other stuff." And see, Kentucky fans, when they listen to him, he died early 2000. He had cancer, died. Yeah. All you had to do, if you were a Kentucky fan, And you listen to him, my father's to him growing up. All you had to do was turn on the radio and listen to his voice. The inflection of his voice, up or down or around or low, whatever, and you could tell how Kentucky was. He didn't have to say no score. Hey, all you could tell is if his boys was up, if they were doing real good, he would be down. But he would tell it like it was. And see, these announcers these days, they don't tell it like it is. They do all this homer business, all this, touchdown. Like that guy. I watched a thing one time. The SEC boys. Let me tell you this one story. This guy was at Auburn, one of these universities, and he goes, touchdown Auburn. And the guy said the guy was pulling on his pants. He about leaped out of the press box. It'd have been 100 feet to his death if he'd let that guy's belt go. He was holding on his breeches, trying to keep him in the press box because he was so excited when they scored a touchdown. All this touchdown Auburn. And then like that Ron Ward, he would go give him. And one time, this guy would return the punt for Tennessee, and he would going all back, and he goes, he's running all the way to the state capitol. And he goes, give him 6 touchdown, all this big orange stuff. And see, John Ward one time they asked him, and he said, Kaywood Ledford was the greatest announcer in SEC history. The greatest one of all time. John Ward said it. And Kaywood Ledford, he was a gentleman. He didn't holler and scream. He didn't do any of that stuff.
Yeah, there was a play.
That's what Kentucky fans liked about him. He didn't do all that junk. He
Yeah,
didn't do all that bull.
There was a play on Friday, right? And I know Keith knows exactly what I'm going to talk about, right? And the windows in the press box were horrible, right? So we had them opened up, right?
Yeah, we have to open them up
to the
be able to
left.
see
I
outside.
mean, it was like bad. So, anyways, this Shannon kid comes breaking right towards our, it's right in front of us, and then he breaks down the sideline going to this window that I can't see. And I'm like trying to look out because I'm excited. And I was like, he's gone, right? It's like I'm leaning out halfway out the window because I want to continue to watch this. So yeah, you talking about that, I can.
Well, here's the thing about broadcasting, and I've been doing it for 30 years now plus. I love Cannon County. When I first came, it's kind of like when Coach Lombardi came down and saw the atmosphere. There are sports writers. You remember Jeff, John Callow, and some of these others.
Oh, yeah.
They wouldn't never come. They would work for the Daily News Journal, and then they kind of sniffed their nose up, and they followed football, but then they didn't want to come to the rest of the thing. And I kind of had to prod John one day back in the day to come watch the basketball team. Come watch it. Just let's see what you think. Now, John was always football. He loved football. He loved baseball. Wasn't that much about basketball. But we had a good boys team at that point in time. And Trent Tenpenny, you remember that name, Coach Lombardi? His dad played while his dad was playing. His dad was a point guard for the basketball team. Really never picked up a basketball until he was in 8th grade. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, his dad could do anything. He was a little point guard and everything. I mean, it was showtime. It's what we call our offense and stuff. Well, at any rate, John Callow came up to do a game, to report on a game for the Daily News Journal. He looked at me and he goes, "Why didn't you tell me this atmosphere?" And I said, "This is the atmosphere. This is the way it goes." And John Callow never missed a game the rest of the season, because it was that way. I like Cannon County, or I like, and I do this in my PA announcing too. I will sit out there and I will be a little flair, a little personality. It's not just a time and temperature jock to me. I'll put a little personality into it. 1st and 10, I'll yell at the fans, "Hey, let's cheer them on. Let's do this. Hey, it's time for a fumble." That time, you don't hear anybody else's PA announcer to do some of the things that I try to do. And sometimes it's met with boos from the opposite side.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But they've got to realize, hey, if I'm PA for you, I'm going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There is no telling how many times in my career at Cannon County High School that I have made people from Cannon County mad at me because I called it down the middle. Yeah. If your team stunk, I said it. I didn't hold back. This sucks. Why? Because I want to see you do better.
Yeah.
It's in my blood to see you do better. And the coaches, they would get the flack too. They would hear about it. They say, "Oh, that Keith Reddy, he's announcing and he said something bad about you." And the coaches told me, they said they'd look back at that parent or whatever, and they say, well, did we suck? And the parent goes, well, yeah, you did. Yeah, we did. So he's just calling it like it is.
Yeah.
Well, it's like,
I mean,
well,
I
that's
can
like,
count
yeah.
probably on 2 fingers the number of times a coach has come to me in defiance of something that I've said.
Yeah.
And then I had to straighten it out. Okay, well, you didn't get the whole context of it, you know. And then once we got that straightened out, everything was cool, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah.
and that's what it was in Kentucky. That broadcaster loved the Kentucky Wildcats, and when they were stinking it up, he wanted to see them do better, and it reflected in his play calling. You know, calling the game.
And the fans appreciate it. When my dad grew up in Kentucky, let me tell you a story about my dad grew up in Kentucky, and when he was in his house, you know, his family was sitting around the ball. This is before TV, before they had TV. And when you turn that radio on and listen to football, especially basketball, you shut up. You didn't say a word.
Yeah.
You didn't say a bit. Wasn't a peep out of you. If you made a peep, they wasn't a word. If you had to go to the bathroom, you just went to the bathroom. But give a shit. You just went on. You didn't have to say nothing about it. You didn't make a peep during that ball game. You didn't say that. Does everybody listen to the ball game? They listen. It's like television. They listen to that radio. They want to hear what was going on. I mean,
Kentucky basketball religion and Indiana, same type of thing is like the same type of football religion and Tennessee, Bama, Georgia, all that stuff. So
Indiana's football school now at top 5.
Yeah, it's a passion.
Football school now. Hell, they got 93. Had that big $93 million check. They got it. They got a football school now.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, this has been a good show. Keith, I loved it, man. Who knows what happens next, but it was fun. I really enjoyed hanging out with you.
I'm trying to get the video for you so you can watch it and relive.
You'll be able to get it
and stuff. I'm trying to get it right now. Yeah, okay. I've texted the person that produced our game the other night.
It's kind of funny because I was trying to tell my wife, you know, I pulled out a choo-choo train I can't even try to explain what I was talking about. Because my wife knows my vernacular gets weird, Jeff, right? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, yeah, I said the choo-choo train. She said, well, what are you talking about? I was like, I don't know, man. This big kid that just was killing him was running, and I just started doing a choo-choo train.
Like, Jeff, let me tell you something. The person that I likened him to on Friday night, Tony Romo, color commentary. He was calling plays. He was calling plays and said, okay, they need to run this, or they need to run that, or it was more Warren County that he was calling plays for, but still. That he was calling plays and just predicting, and when they get it, it's Tony Romo all the way, and that's who I likened him to. The other night. It was a lot of fun.
I would love to make Tony Romo money, baby. That would be fun. But that was enjoyable. Who knows, man? Maybe we'll be able to do this again. So,
well, I will say this real quick before we close, Jeff. This dude right here, Coach Lombardi, he needs to be coaching high school football in the state of Tennessee. Somewhere.
Well, I mean,
hopefully he'll think about it, and hopefully something will come open for him and he'll take advantage of it and do it, because I mean, this man knows his football. Ain't
no doubt about that. There's no question about that.
Well, guys, I sincerely, I really appreciate, the sentiment, and, I think we were talking about that before, Keith, how, Lord willing, the opportunity presents itself, but I'm as close as I can get to the sidelines. The only thing I didn't like about the game, Jeff, was I hate being that far away from the field. Right? So, and
maybe I'll bring my Bluetooth headphone set the next time, and he can be on the field.
That's right. Well, if y'all want some community sports this week, but Eagle and MTCS are in the state volleyball tournament. Yep. Cool. Eagle plays at Siegel High School Tuesday morning at 9:30. MTCS plays at their place. They're hosting D2 single A. They play at 9:30.
Nice.
The MTCS is double elimination.
Yeah.
Eagles is single elimination this year because they're having to consolate for third place. But both them teams are really good. Eagle was 40-5. MTCS is 30-3. They're really good. If y'all want to watch good volleyball, some good athletes, and Clay Shirley is a basketball player and a volleyball. Yeah. Good athletes to watch.
That's one thing I like, not just about the football, the sports. in general,
Right.
in girls
Yeah.
sports. I mean, there's such a promotion of, and again, I think it's all about the community part. I love when girls compete. My daughter's like, you got to compete. You just, there's something about it, right? And but the way, the whole community. I mean, you get these girl basketball tournaments now. They got girl flag football. Just I love anything that has to do with sports. I love
Oh
it.
yeah.
So I'm glad you're covering that, Jeff. I think it's fantastic. So I do have to say that I'll be at Riverdale tomorrow night, the freshman championship game.
Riverdale and Oakland. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll be at that one.
Battle of the Borough freshman style. You gonna
Yeah, right.
freshman style. You'll get you.
Oh, but anyhow, all right. Well, this is Coach Lombardi, and on behalf of Jeff, the real deal. Follow him on Murfreesboro Post. He's a great writer. And then Keith, I'm always ready on the radio. Follow him on Cannon Courier. So, gentlemen, great show. I really appreciate it, and we will see you guys next week because we have to get ready. We got to get back on our pros picks, especially since we're getting close to the playoffs. So, till next week, this is Coach Lombardi. Remember, Faith Family Football.